morning, everyone. My name is Jill, and I am the Training and Education Manager here at Vertical Response. This morning, I am going to demo our Vertical Response account. This is the Getting Started with Vertical Response. There's a couple things I'm going to mention before I jump into the demo. First of all, this is about 45 minutes to 50 minutes long. And then at the end, we'll do a Q&A. So if you have questions along the way, feel free to ask those. Just type them into the box that you see in the GoToWebinar window, and I'll answer as many questions as I can at the end of the demo. Also, we have numerous demos that we do every week, and one of the most popular questions that I get is this a Salesforce demo? And it's actually not. We do have a specific Salesforce demo that is done Wednesday mornings. So if you're interested in seeing our integration with Salesforce, please join us tomorrow. You're more than welcome to stay for this demo, but there's nothing about Salesforce in this demo. But that's a popular question, so I bring it up every time I do these weekly demos. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started showing you how to use your Vertical Response account. So there's a few things that I'm going to go over, some of the major things that you can do with your account. I'll also show you how to create an email and also upload a mailing list, and some of the information about the reporting that you get once you send your email out. So this is a Vertical Response account. This is what you're going to see when you log in. We make it pretty easy for everyone to navigate through the account. Anything that you would want to do with your account has pretty much been broken up into different sections. So we have the email section, we have a reporting section, lists, postcards, surveys, and there's also a segmentation section. And you can easily access any of these by going through this blue navigation bar at the top of the account. You can also move around these boxes. So for instance, if it was more important for you to have reports at the top of your account, you can just grab it and move it. You just grab this bar at the top and move it around. If, for instance, you didn't want to have postcards taking up space there in the middle, you can grab it and move it off to the right over here. So whatever is more important, you can move it around and set it up to look the way you need it to look. I usually like to have the emails at the top, though. There's also, excuse me. Like I said, there's a few things you can access from this blue navigation bar. One of the things you can access is our community, which is the VR Lounge. And that's where people who are using Vertical Response can go and talk about email marketing or using our system or tips they've picked up along the way. It's basically a forum, and there's lots of people who are in there using and talking about Vertical Response and marketing in general. So you might want to go check that out. That's free. There's also a library, which I'm going to show you the library first before we get into creating an email. This is where you can store any images that you're going to use in your email campaigns. So you can either upload an image directly. So there's a link right here that says upload images. You just need to make sure excuse me, that your image is either a JPEG or a GIF, and then you'll be able to upload it into your account. You can create folders if you wanted to have your images separated out by specific maybe products. Maybe you want to have the images separated out for particular newsletters that you do or seasons. So you could set up different folders if you want, but you don't have to do that. We also give you 25 megabytes of free disk space to store your images, which is actually quite a lot. The images are pretty small that you're going to be using in your emails. So you'd actually be able to have a lot of email campaigns with lots of images before you start running into a problem running into storage space. So if there isn't an image that you have, maybe you have a logo that you want to upload, but you don't have any particular images that you want to use in your email, we do provide a gallery of images. So if you click on this link, it's going to open a window. And you can either use the categories we've already set up, or you can search by a specific topic. There's 75,000 free images for you to use in your emails, and you can use these for postcards or for emails as well. So let's go ahead and search for, let's look for San Francisco. This is where we're located, so I'll go ahead and see what we have in here. So you'll notice there's pages of images right here. So whatever your search is, it'll come back with things that match that particular search that you're looking for. And then if you mouse over the thumbnail images, you'll be able to see a bigger version, so you get a better idea of what the image is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and select this picture of Alcatraz. And all you have to do is click on these links to add it into your library. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the small link for Alcatraz, and then it's added into my account. Now, even though I picked the small image, which is a pretty good size for the body of your email, I can probably make it a little bit smaller because it's still a little big. So if you click on the little pencil icon, it's going to bring up our image editing tools. And we've partnered with Picnic to give you some different tools that you can use to make some edits to your images. Picnic gives you a lot of choices. There's autofix and a variety of things that you can do with the exposure and colors. For your email campaigns, you'll probably be using rotate, crop, and resize the most often. So rotate will allow you to move the image to the left or to the right if you wanted to move Alcatraz around. You could crop. So if you wanted to have a little less of the blue in the picture, you could crop out the picture of the, or parts of the sky and the ocean there. And you can also resize, which is what I'm going to do here. So you'll notice as I change the width of my image, the height is automatically going to change. And that's because this Keep Proportions box is checked. And that way my image doesn't end up getting distorted if I don't put in the right height to make sure it looks right. So if you are going to be changing the dimensions of your image, just make sure this check is there on the Keep Proportions, and you don't have to worry about any problems with how your image will turn out. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. That saves the changes I made. And then click Save and Return to Library. And now my image is added back into my library, and it's ready to go for my email campaign. I'm going to go over here to the email section. Whoops. Click on New. And this is going to walk me through creating a new email. We've recently added some new editing tools, which is what I'm going to go through today for creating the email. And that's what this page is telling you here. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Start Now button. And our system's going to put you into the workflow for creating and sending out your email. So the first step is setting up your email. And these are some of the basic things for your email, but also some really important parts of your email. So the first thing that you're going to do is give your email a name. And this is just for your reference. This isn't something that your recipients are going to see, so you can call it whatever you want. Our system's automatically going to call it whatever the time and the date is that you start setting up the email, but you can call it anything that you want to call it. The next step is setting up the from label and the subject line. And these probably are the two most important parts of your email. The reason is that these two items are the things that get your recipients to open your email in the first place. And if they're not opening it, they're not going to see the great content that you're sending to them. So you need to pay a little bit of attention to this, probably initially, and then once you get good at this, then you don't really have to worry too much about it. You'll probably have it down pat. The from label, you'll notice, is already filled in for me. And that's because I have a company name set up under the account section up here at the top. I definitely recommend you fill in the information there. There's a lot that our system pulls in from that section, the profile section. And I'll show you the account section a little bit later in the demo. So the from label is a company name, and that's generally what we're going to recommend that you use, a company name. That's usually what your recipients have signed up with, a specific company, not a specific person, to receive the emails. And that's probably something they'll recognize over a person's name. Now, you could put a person's name in the from label instead of a company name. So for instance, if you're a realtor, your recipients would probably recognize your name maybe more than your company name. But for the most part, using the company name is what's going to get people to recognize who's sending the email to them. The subject line is what's going to get them to open the email once they know who is sending it to them. So you want your subject line to be something that's catchy, that's going to get them to want to open your email. You also need to make sure that what your subject line says has something to do with the content of your email. And that's based on the CAN spam law. So by law, that has to pertain to the content of your email, and your from label has to be the sender of the email. The other thing with the subject line is that most email clients are going to truncate your subject line to about 40 to 50 characters, so it can't be a really long subject line either. So there's a lot of things that go into thinking of what your subject line should be. So let's see here. Let's call it May Specials, 25% off sale. That's what my email is going to be about. So our system's going to count how many characters you're using. And this one's pretty short, so it's okay. The closer you get to 50, our system will go turn this to red and let you know that you need to shorten your subject line a little bit. And then underneath this is the unsubscribe and postal address. This is information, again, that's required by the CAN-SPAM law. And we add this as a footer in the bottom of your email. So the unsubscribe, this is kind of a basic message that we provide. If you click this change link, you can change it to something else or change what your link says. So by default, the link says unsubscribe, but you could say no more email. The only thing you can't do is have your unsubscribe say something where they would be unsubscribing in a way that wasn't going through vertical response. We're going to handle all the unsubscribes for you. And then postal address, also the CAN-SPAM law requires a valid postal address in the email. And we put it in the footer. The reason I have a full postal address already in there is because I have that information set up under the account section. So again, you probably want to fill that information in because you'll only do it one time in the account section, and then every time you create your email, our system will automatically pull it in here for you. But if you don't feel like doing that, you don't have to. If you click on the change link, you can just type in your address every time you send out your email. The reply to email address is where our system is going to send the responses to your email. So if somebody hits reply in their email program, our system is going to look for any unsubscribes and then forward the emails to you to whatever email address you put here. This is not an email address your recipients are going to see. So put in whatever address you want in there. If there's a particular person in your company that's going to handle the responses to your emails, go ahead and put their email address in there. Nobody else is going to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and click Next, and that's going to save what I've set up. And then this is where you come and pick which editor you're going to use. So the one that we generally recommend is our Email Wizard, and that's the one that I'm going to demo for you today. But we have a couple others that you can use. We have an Email Canvas. This is our What You See is What You Get editor. There's templates that we provide. There's about 400 templates, and they are the same templates that you can use in the Email Wizard. If you understand HTML, you could actually build a template from scratch using this particular tool. So you can set up a table and then set up table rows and table cells using the tool. It kind of works like Word. There's a toolbar along the top where you can highlight your text to change, or highlight your text to change like the color or your font. You can add background colors. So it's basically a toolbar that's writing HTML code for you. The freeform HTML is for advanced users, and that's because somebody on your side needs to actually write the HTML code. And this might be something you use if you're trying to get an email to look exactly like a website, and you have someone on your side who can write that for you. Or maybe if you're having an event and you have a brochure and you want your email to match the brochure, you can try doing it that way as well if somebody can write the code for you. You basically just copy and paste it into a box, and our system will render the email for you. The last option on here is text only, and that is just a plain text email. There's no images. You can't change the font or add any colors. It's just plain text. So let's go ahead and select Email Wizard and click Next. And that's going to drop you right in where you start selecting what template you want to use. There's lots of different categories that you can go through and just kind of look through the different ones and see what template you want to use. There's lots of templates within each category, so find one that you like. So I'm going to go ahead and select one of these, and if you click on the thumbnail over here, you get a bigger version of what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and click Select Template, and that's going to drop it down here, and this is where you can start making edits to your email. So the first thing you're going to want to do is add content blocks. So the way these templates work is that there's different types of blocks that you can add into your email. We already have some in here. And all you do is drag and drop them. So you just mouse over them in this content block menu, grab it with your mouse and drag it over, and you'll have that section added. There's lots of different types we have in here. And we even have a horizontal line. So if you want to break up different articles or different sections of your email, you can just grab a line and do that. And you can also move this information around in here as well. So this has my greeting information in it, so I can move this up just by grabbing this gray bar at the top with my mouse and moving it up. And we also have all this information already in your email, so if there's something you don't want, you can delete it just by clicking on that red dot and clicking OK, and that'll move it away. So once you have the content block set up, you can start actually adding the content of your email. So you can just start typing in these boxes if you want to, if you know what you're going to say or if you're working out what you're going to say. If you've already written your text in another program, say Word, just make sure you're using the Paste from Word button. You just click on it, add your information, click Add Content, and our system will put it in here. And what it's going to do is strip out the formatting from Word. Because the different things you can do to format your text in Word works great in that program, but when you take it out of Word, it doesn't work very well in HTML programs because it doesn't use all HTML coding to create the formatting on the text that you're writing in there. And you've probably seen this before. You may not know that this is what was causing it, but sometimes you'll see on like websites or blogs, even sometimes in emails, you'll see maybe a little box or a question mark right in the middle of a word or something that looks like a string of Greek letters. And that's because there's certain characters in Word that just doesn't work outside. Usually it's quotation marks and commas and apostrophes that are usually the ones that end up with like a question mark in the middle of the word. So to avoid that, just make sure that you're using Paste from Word, and our system will strip out all that formatting so you won't run into that problem. You can, however, use our system once that stuff has been removed. You can use our system to make changes to your text. So for instance, if I highlight something over on this side, I can then use this editing menu over here to make some adjustments. So I can bold this. I could change the color if I wanted to. You can also italicize or underline, and there's also alignment. So you can left and right and justify. You can change the size of your font or change the font itself. So you can tell every time I do something over here, this text over here keeps changing with all of the things that I'm doing. So anything that you want to change, you can pretty much do that using this menu over here. Now, if there's a particular font that you want to use in your whole email, or font size or font color, instead of going through each of these sections and highlighting it and then using the tool over here, you can come up here to the top to the overall style, click on that, and up here in the body text, you can change your fonts. You can select what font you want for your whole email. And now my whole email is Georgia. You can change the size and you can change the color. If you know the code, you can put that in there. Otherwise, you can just use the color picker and pick what color you want to use. You can do that for heading text and article text as well, and that would be down here. So this is the heading text. You can change the font, size, style, and color. And this is the article title right here. So you can make global changes on your email just in this one spot. The content box is the background color that you see right here. And again, you can change that color. So this is what's in there now. But if I click on this color picker, I can select another color that can go in there. If you like everything that you've done, you can click OK. If you don't like how it turned out, you can click Revert to Default, and it's going to go back to the way it started. And now it's back to this beige color. So a couple more things, and then I'll move on and show you how to send out your email and upload a list. You can add links, and we would definitely encourage you to add a lot of links in your email. Whatever it is that you're trying to get your recipients to do, if you're trying to get them to make a purchase, if you're trying to get them to donate, if you're like a charity or something, if you're trying to get them to sign up for an event, you want to make sure that you're giving them enough opportunity to get to your website to do what it is that you want them to do, your call to action. So definitely, if you're using images, you want to link your images. If you have a particular product that's in your email, you want to make sure that the link on the image goes directly to the page where that product is so that your recipients don't have to try to find it when they get to your website. If you have a logo in your email, you definitely want to link that to your website. And then you probably want to put a couple of other links within the body of your email. If you have an article, maybe create the article title as a link so that people can jump to read more about your article at your website at the beginning and maybe one at the end. Any link that you set up in here, our system is going to be able to track, so you'll be able to see in your reporting the links that people are clicking on the most, so you'll know which ones are the most effective in your email. So for instance, if I wanted this word that I've done so much to be a link, I just highlight it, click this little link icon in the toolbar, and then type in the URL. So I'm going to have it go to vertical response, but you would have it go to your own website. And then click submit, and this is now set up as a link. And again, you could do this for an image. So say this was an image I actually liked over here. If you click on it, click link. Again, just type in the URL, and then the image will be set up as a link. You can also add images in your email. Since we had the nice image of Alcatraz, we'll add that in here. And of course, this image is just a placeholder over here, so you'd want to change this to something else or delete it. And you can just click on it and click this image icon over here to change it. But you can add images anywhere in your email. So if I wanted one in this section, which is just a text section, just click your icon where you want it to go. Click the image icon that's in the toolbar. And then you have a couple options. So you could upload an image directly from your computer. You want to make sure that image is ready to go for your email, though, so that it's sized appropriately and that it's a JPEG or a GIF. You can select from your library, which is what I'm going to do. Or if somebody on your site's already hosted the image somewhere on a web page and you have a URL to where that image is hosted, you could just paste that in. I'm going to go ahead and select my library option and click on the picture of Alcatraz that I edited earlier. And this window pops up. So there's a couple of things in here that I'm going to point out on this display properties. First of all, the width and the height that you see here is what I set up using the picnic tool. And again, because your image can become distorted if you just type in numbers in here, I'd recommend not changing it right here. So just leave those width and height numbers alone in this window. Alignment has to do with how the image is sitting within the text in my email. So right now it's sort of floating over my text and it doesn't look very nice. If I click on this drop-down menu and select left, it's going to move my image to the left, and then the text is going to wrap around it. Or I can move my image to the right, and then my text will wrap around it that way. The other thing to point out here is alt text. And alt text is something, again, that we would definitely recommend that you use for all your images in your email. It's not something you're going to see when you're creating your email. It's actually added to the back of your image. When your recipients receive your email in their inbox, if they're blocking images, which these days most email clients have a feature that will block images until the recipient turns them on. If they're blocking images, instead of seeing a broken image icon, they're going to see the alt text. So this is another way to not only encourage people to get to your website or to see what it is that you're trying to get them to do, your call to action, but it'll also encourage them to want to turn on your images as well. So the alt text could be, I could call it Alcatraz because this is an image of Alcatraz, but I could also have my image or my alt text say something about what my email's about. So I could call this May sale 25% off, like I had in my subject line, which could get people to want to turn my images on. When we send out emails, we'll often have it say a little bit about what the newsletter is about. So for instance, for signing up for this particular demo, it says sign up today, and then it actually has a link to where people could sign up for this particular demo, and that's our alt text. So again, this is only going to be seen if people have images turned off, but it's a great way to continue to reach your recipients and get them to do what you want them to do. Go to your website, turn on your images, things like that. The other reason to use alt text is if you happen to have anyone on your list who is visually impaired and using a screen reader, the screen reader is going to actually read the alt text. So that way anyone receiving your email is going to know what your images are about. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save Image. Now my image is still a little bit large for this section even though I resized it. So if I click on it, I can go up here to the corner and grab it and then resize it right there in the email. So you don't have to go back to the library to change the size of your image. You can just do it within the body of the email. And I would recommend grabbing the corner because then it won't get distorted. If you grab at the top, then it's going to get squished. You can see how it looks very strange now. So just make sure if you grab the corner, then you can change what your image looks like. And again, we would definitely recommend that you use images in your email. This little box over here has some information about the 80-20 rule. So generally about 80% text, 20% images. But that's not a hard and fast rule. I mean, you can definitely do 60-40 if you want to. But the reason, again, that you want to make sure that you have text and images is one, if images are turned off, your recipient is still going to be able to get the information that you're trying to get to them because you have text in there. The other reason is spam filters. So spam filters are looking for emails that are comprised of only one image or just a couple of images and nothing else. And the reason is if you look at the emails that end up in your spam folder, you'll notice a lot of them are probably pharmaceuticals that you have no interest in, and it's just one image. Since spammers have a tendency to do that, spam filters are looking for those type of emails. So you want to make sure that you're not sending out an email that's only just one big image. You want to make sure you have a balance of text and images so that spam filters don't flag your email, and again, so your recipients get the information that you want them to get. And then one other thing before we move on, you'll notice that this is already customized in here with this merge field. So my email, it says hi first underscore name slash valued customer. When my email goes out, our system is going to pull in the information from the first name field in my mailing list. So my email in this example is going to say hi Bob or hi Sally. If I don't have a first name, it's going to do valued customer. So that way it isn't just blank if some of that information is missing. And you can add a merge field in your email wherever you want it, and it can merge anything from your mailing list. So if you click where you want that to go and come over to this insert menu and click the drop down, our system has 18 basic fields that you can merge in, basically name and company and address, but also any custom fields that you set up in your email will also be included in this, or I'm sorry, in your mailing list will also be included in this drop-down, and you can merge that data into your mailing list. So if you click on the data you want to merge in, it's going to pop up a window, and this is where you can set up the default value. So if for some reason I didn't have my recipient's favorite wine for everyone in my list, I could put in a default value and say, whoops, say bubbly, because everybody likes that, and click Insert Field. And now it's going to merge in whatever information I have in the wine type field in my mailing list, and if that's missing, it's going to say bubbly. And you could do this for anything. It's great to personalize your email if you do have your recipients' names. It makes them feel like you know who they are and are interested in what you're sending to them. Um, but also you could merge in information about maybe purchases they've recently made. You know, you could say, hi Bob, you recently purchased product X and thought you might be interested in this product that goes along with it. So you could merge in that information. I've seen people merge in username and passwords to their system in order for people to log in. And I've seen people merge in information about winery club, either expiration information or for their credit cards, or what wine types or information that's coming out for their wine club. So there's a lot of uses for using this. You just need to make sure that those fields are in your mailing list, and then you'll be able to merge that into your email. So we do have this autosave option. So if you click that on, our system's going to save your email every 30 seconds. So that's great. You don't have to worry about losing any of your data if there's like a fire drill or you have to leave your desk for some reason, you lose connection to the internet or something. The only thing I would say is if you suddenly decide you don't like what you've created and you delete everything, it could save where your email's blank, so you wouldn't be able to get that back. But barring deleting everything, it's probably a good idea to have the autosave on. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. And this is going to drop me into the last couple of steps for sending out the email. So you do need to preview your email, the HTML version and the text version, and our system automatically creates the text version. Most of your recipients are going to get the graphical version, but there's always a handful of people who are either using older email clients or who are maybe reading it on a handheld that doesn't accept HTML emails. So you want to make sure there's a text backup, and our system will do that for you. You can edit this on the previous page, but for the most part, it's just going to pull in all the information you've already added in your email. You need to send a test. So you can send it to just your address that's on the account, or you can type in additional email addresses. These are tests. We send you 2 tests. One's going to be the graphical version, one's going to be the text version, and it says test in the subject line. So you want to make sure that it is somebody who's maybe internal who's going to help you catch any typos or editorial issues. You don't want to send these to your recipients because they're just test emails. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And this is where I can select a list, and I'll show you in just a minute how to upload a list. But from this page, you can select however many lists that you want to, and our system is automatically going to dedupe your list. So if I selected 2 lists in this case, if somebody's email address was on both of those lists, that person would only receive the email one time. They wouldn't get it twice. So at the top of this Send tab, there's a couple things going on. First of all, my account is set up with Google Analytics. Google has this program. It's free. It tracks traffic to your website, amongst other things. And if you turn it on in your account, then when you send out your emails, our system will add tracking to it, and you'll be able to see that within Google Analytics. You'll see vertical response is one of the sources for the traffic to your website, so you'll be able to see where people are coming from. Again, it's something free, and I'll show you how to turn that on in your VR account at the end of the demo. But most of it's done through Google. This is giving me information about the people on my mailing list. I'm mailing to 2,500 people, basically. I did have some duplicates across my list because to start with, I had quite a few more, and the system deduplicated those. It also tells me about my email credits. So this account is set up to mail using email credits. 1 email credit equals 1 email address in your mailing list. So you can either do pay-as-you-go and purchase those credits when you send your email out, or you can purchase them in bulk, and they're good for up to a year, so you can purchase quite a few, and then our system will automatically deduct from that bank of credits when you send out your emails. The other option is a flat monthly rate. So basically, based on the number of unique email addresses in your account, which is the master list in your account, there's a tier that we have for pricing, and you just basically pay 1 fee and mail as often as you want in the year. You can set either one of these up here under this Buy More link, and it's going to kind of be up to you which one you want to do. You can compare them when you go in there to take a look at which one's going to work better for you. You can, generally speaking, if you have a smaller list or you mail once a month or less, probably pay-as-you-go credits is the best way for you. If you have a larger list or you mail more than twice a month, then the flat monthly rate will probably be a better deal for you. But again, you can take a look at that and decide which one's going to work out better for you. The last thing on this page is when you want to send it. So by default, our system is going to do as soon as possible, but if you click this change link, you can change that. We have some shortcuts down here. So you can do tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, next week, which is 7 days exactly. And you could change the time in here if you wanted to send it out at a different time. And you can click on this little calendar and schedule it to go out up to 4 months in advance. So once you've scheduled your email, go ahead and click Send. And then it's going to tell you, good job, and you're all set. Excuse me. So let's go over to the list, and then I'll show you the reporting after that. So to upload a mailing list, you need to make sure that your list is saved in the correct format. So there is no limit to the number of lists in your account. If you notice, I have quite a few lists in here of varying sizes. The master list, as I mentioned before, is a list of just the unique email addresses in your account. So every time you upload a list, our system's going to check and see if each email address is already on the master list. If it is, It's not going to do anything. If it isn't, it'll be added to the master list plus whatever list you're uploading. So you'll notice that the totals of all my lists far exceed what my master list is, and that's because I have duplicates. But you can use the mailing list section to manage your data however you want. So you can have as many lists in here as you like, broken up however you want, whatever makes it easier for you to send your emails. So let me go ahead and click New List. And our system's going to walk you through uploading the list. The first thing on this page is you have to agree to our terms of service, which basically says that you are not using a purchase, rented, or harvested mailing list. It's something that goes against our policies, and so we don't allow that. Basically, you need to use an opted-in list, meaning that everyone on your mailing list has agreed to receive emails from your company in some way. So maybe they signed up at a trade show or through a opt-in form on your website. There's a variety of ways for people to sign up for mailing lists, but we just require that they have done that in some capacity and you're not using a purchase list. I'm going to click Continue. Give my list a name here. You can call it, again, anything you want. This is for your reference. It has nothing to do with the email itself, so nobody's going to see this but you. And there's a couple ways to upload your list. You can do it one member at a time. So for instance, if you have a guest book in your shop, or maybe you have an art gallery and people can sign up to receive emails, you'll have to come in here and manually type those in. So you could do it that way. You can upload from an external file, which I'm going to do in just a minute. And we also have an integration with Gmail, Hotmail, and Yahoo. You can bring over the contacts that you have in those particular systems to upload into your vertical response account. One thing to note, Gmail especially will put somebody in your address book if you've received an email from them a couple of times. So you want to make sure you just import contacts who should be on your mailing list, not just everyone who's in those accounts. So let me go ahead and upload a list. This is probably the way most people create their mailing lists. So to upload a list, if it's in Excel, you need to make sure it's saved as a CSV. That's comma-separated values. Generally, if you're exporting your data from some other source, maybe it's a CRM tool like Salesforce or Act, you can export it as a CSV from that system. If it's coming from Outlook or Outlook Express, again, it'll just automatically export it as a CSV, or it'll give you that option. If you're not sure if it is saved correctly, go ahead and open that spreadsheet, go up to File, and click on Save As. And you'll see in the window that opens up something that says File Type. And you just need to find CSV in there and then save your list again, and then you'll be able to upload it. So let me go ahead and browse my computer for my list. And then click Next. And the system's going to upload just a couple of records from the mailing list for this data matching. And basically on this page, you're just telling our system what it is that you're uploading. So if you have column headers on your spreadsheet, our system's going to match those up to our fields. But you don't have to set it up that way. If you don't have column headers, you can just click on these little drop-down menus and select what the data is. So this one's email address, and I would click email address to set that up. This one's first name. This one's last name. And again, you can create custom fields for your mailing list, and this is where you would do it. So this one's automatically being created as a custom field, but that's the very first option up here at the top. And you can call your field whatever you want. I already have the other one in there, so I'll call it that. And you can even set up how much data you're going to be able to store in that particular field. If there's something that you don't want to upload, click on the drop-down menu, click Do Not Import, and then our system will not include that in the upload process. Click Next, and now my list is going to be uploaded. Again, the system's going to look for any duplicates in the list that's being uploaded, just within the list itself. Any addresses that aren't formatted correctly, so like if you're missing the @ symbol or the .com, they won't be uploaded. And once you've started mailing through our system, if any addresses bounce or unsubscribe and you upload those again, our system will take those out during the upload so you don't have any bad addresses. So now I have my mailing list all set up. And here it is, VRDemo, ready to go. We also offer an opt-in form, in the same list section. When you create your account, we automatically set that up for you. And this is one way for you to collect information for people to be on your mailing list. We give you a snippet of code, and you add that to your website, and then people will be able to sign up on the opt-in form, and that goes to a list directly in your vertical response account. You can design the form yourself to collect whatever information you want. By default, we'll include email address because, of course, you have to have an email address to receive an email. But then you can collect whatever information you want. And then again, at the end, we give you the code, and you just paste that into your website, and people will be able to sign up for your mailing list. So let's jump back to the home section, and I'll show you some of the reporting information. So again, once your email's gone out, our system's going to start collecting the information about the openers, the clickers, any addresses that bounced, or anyone who unsubscribes. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. I just clicked on the name of the email, and this is going to bring up the reporting section. So the first part that you see is this dashboard, and this kind of gives you an overview of how your email went. You can see how many opens you had, how many clicks, how many bounces, and how many unsubscribes from here. This page will also show you the top performing links. So it'll show you which ones are clicked on the most, and then it'll also tell you how many total clicks you have. If you mail to more than one mailing list, we'll show you how each list performs. And then at the bottom of the page is a comparison of your recent emails. So this is a great way for you to check how your email marketing is going and maybe where you can make some improvements. So these are emails that were sent out internally, and these people were told they had to open it. So my open rates are crazy high. That's definitely not normal, but they were told to open them. You can take a look and see which ones do better. So for instance, my June newsletter had a 68% open rate, but my July newsletter had a 79% open rate. So these are two newsletters, so presumably the same kind of information, but there's different results. So you might want to take a look at what you did. The July newsletter had a great open rate, so maybe you want to check out what the subject line was. That was clearly something that caught people's eye, and you might want to continue to do things like whatever you had in your subject line for that particular newsletter. Also, this newsletter was sent out at 9 in the morning, and this one was sent out at 2:45 in the afternoon. So it's possible my recipients respond better when the newsletter arrives in the morning than when it arrives in the afternoon. And you can do tests with this. We have a segmentation tool that you can split your lists up and try testing out maybe different days to send out your newsletter or test out different subject lines and see which gets you a better result. And then you can stick with that particular option going forward. So if I scroll up here, there's a couple more things to show you on the reporting. We have this share email link, and this can share your email or your newsletter with anyone following you on Twitter or Facebook. Just click the link, and our system is going to create a short URL, which is what it's doing right now. And that's basically a hosted version of your email. You can use this to archive it if you want to. If you save your newsletters on your website and you have an archive, you can use this link to do that. But it also works for posting to Twitter. That's why it's short, because Twitter has the character limitation. So if you have a Twitter account and a Facebook account, which you should for your business, anyone who's following you could still see your emails even if they're not on your mailing list. So basically what our system does is take what your subject line is and then adds that short URL, and then they just need to click on the short URL and they'll see your email. So you probably want to make sure that what this says makes sense for the people following you on Twitter or Facebook. New menu items for June, you might want to add what your restaurant name is to that, for instance, just to make sure it makes sense for them. And then you can just click share email, and it'll be automatically posted to the accounts that you've set up. Also, if you click this download lists in this email actions menu, this is going to take you to the area that you can see the very specific information about the reporting. So this is where you can see who's opening your email, and we'll also include the time and the date that the email is being opened. The clicks, again, time and the date that the links are being clicked on, which links are clicked on, and how many times they're being clicked. We'll also tell you the same information about unsubscribes and bounces. And if you're using our click-to-conversion data, which I'll show you again in a few minutes how to set that up, our system can actually track purchases made at your website. So if you have a shopping cart on your website or have a way for people to purchase through your website, you can track the purchases through the vertical response emails. So in addition to time and date that the email's open, we can also let you know who's purchasing, how much they're spending, and then also the time and the date of the purchase to give you some more information about the recipients of your newsletter. Um, Again, it's pretty easy to set up, and I'll show you that in just a couple minutes. You can download these lists. You can create new mailing lists based on the information from your email campaigns. So you could create a list of all the non-responders and maybe try a different subject line or maybe a different time of day and see if you can get more of them to read your email. Or maybe you want to create a list of the people who just clicked on the links in your email. Those are the people who are the most engaged, and maybe send them advanced sale information or send them special deals because those are the ones who are really interested in your emails. There's some more additional reporting under the Reports tab, so there's a lot more that you can do, and you can compare your campaigns more specifically than on the dashboard. So there's quite a bit that you can check out there. So let's jump up here to the account section since I've mentioned it so much today in this demo, and I haven't shown it to you yet. So the first part here is the profile, and this is what I was talking about when you were creating your email. So if you fill in your postal address here, you only have to do it one time, and then it's automatically set up in your emails going forward. And this is also where the company name is being pulled for the from label. If you click on Analytics, this is where the analytics I mentioned a couple times today are set up. So this is where you can set up Google Analytics. Again, most of this is done through Google, so you have to create an account, again, free. They give you code that you add to your website. Once you've done that, come in here and type in the domains that you want to have tracked. So you can have numerous domains. It doesn't have to just be one. You can add more. And then as you send out your emails, you'll have the option of adding the Google Analytics tracking to your email. Click to conversion is our analytics that come with the account. So if you, again, had a shopping cart or some way for people to purchase on your website, you can use the click to conversion and ROI calculator. You'll basically add this to a page after the purchase has been made, so usually like a thank you page, and you add this code, and then our system will be able to include that information in the reporting. And we also have just click to conversion. And you would add this code to a page or pages on your website, and then our system would be able to let you know when people are hitting those particular pages. So say you have like a white paper that people can download, you could add this snippet of code to that page, and then as people from the vertical response emails hit that page, you'll get the information when they're hitting and the time and the date. Or if you have an event and you have a sign-up form for the event on your website, you could add this tracking to see how many people are coming from your vertical response emails to sign up for the event. Again, these are all free. It's just additional information you can add to the reporting for your emails. And the social sharing link here is how you set up the Twitter and Facebook. So once you have a Twitter account and a Facebook account, you can add them in here, and basically you just need to give vertical response permission to update to those two accounts, and then you'll be able to update the information about your emails. There's a few other things in here. The only other thing I'm going to point out right now is subscriptions. So if you are interested in setting up the flat monthly rate, it is a subscription, and you do that through here. Also, surveys is a subscription, and you can set that up through there as well. So I'm going to click on the home to come back here. So I'm just going to point out two things, and so you guys can go ahead and start typing in questions while I do this. There's a help link in this blue navigation bar, and this is going to open up our How to Do Everything website. And this is where you can get tutorials on how to do anything in our system. So we have videos. Most of the videos are 2 minutes or less, so you don't have to watch for a long time just to find one little thing. So if you forgot how to upload an image or how to create a link in your email, there's videos you can watch to do that. There's also text tutorials if you'd rather read. And also at the bottom of this page is this link that says Need Help. If you mouse over that, our system's going to give you the information on how to get in touch with the customer support team. You can send an email. There's a phone number here, so you can call. And there's also a link for live chat. So if you have a quick question, you can go ahead and chat in, and somebody would be more than happy to answer your question. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start taking questions.